Hi, welcome. I wanted to explain a little bit about how I created this spreadsheet for the Wildlife Garden Planting Plan and how you can use it too. I feel really fortunate to have been able to tackle this project, and I want to share the results of all the research I did, the classes I took, and everything so that you too can think about starting a wildlife garden and have a starting place. If you aren't finding me through my website, I want to make sure that you know on my website I have an entire section devoted to the installation of this wildlife garden project. One of the frustrations I had was that it was hard to find instructions for how to plant, how to prepare the site, what plants to choose. And so I'm trying to answer all of those questions. I have information on my website, on YouTube, on Instagram, kind of everywhere. But the website is the hub. And together with my partner, High Country Gardens, we want to make this accessible to you so that you can do a project like this too and get all of the answers ahead of time. So be sure you check out the links below and take a look at all of the information that's there. And as always, ask questions if you have them. Taking a look at the spreadsheet, there are several different categories. It's organized in a variety of ways, and it's a spreadsheet, so you can sort it in any way that you want. But the information that is there gives you a starting point to develop your own planting plan, whether you are planting 100 square feet, 1,000 square feet, or 10,000 square feet. The principles are really the same. You want to have a variety of plants that function in several different ways that add height and interest, and that will carry you and the wildlife that you're going to support through multiple seasons. Those were my goals as I put this together. So let's dive into the spreadsheet and I'll show you how it works. So the first thing, of course, that you'll want to do is go over, once you've opened it up, you'll have the option over here to make a copy and make your own copy, because you can't edit this one. This one will be available to everyone, so you'll want to make your own copy. And then once you've done that, you can change it and do whatever you need to do to make it useful for you. This is the list of plants that I have used to create my wildlife garden in my front yard. And you have access to all of both common names and botanical names, all the different species. There are actually more species because there are a few places where I've used mixes. There are 2 tabs here, so don't forget to take a look at the key tab at the bottom. That gives you an explanation a little bit of how I planted. So I took Kelly D. Norris's class on the new naturalism. We talked about matrix layers, vignette layers, and structural layers within a planting. And so you can see what I used for the matrix layer, vignette, and the structural planting layers too. You can also see that I divided things into blocks. This was an organizational tool to help me stay organized. For example, there were 15 plants per block in Fall Mix A, and there were a total of 7 blocks of plants. And so this was to make sure that the mixes of plants were consistent, that they included a variety of plants that would work together, and that they were plants that were all part of kind of the same layer. The matrix layer or the structural layer, etc. So those plants were put then into mixes. You can see it's all color coded here for you, but you can also sort. I also planted at 2 times. I planted once in the spring in 2023, and then again in the fall. It was May and September that I ended up planting. So you will see that here you have Fall A and Spring A. Those mixes that was largely dictated by availability of plants. But we had always planned to do a 2-phase planting process. And that worked out really, really well because the spring planted plants had grown in a little bit. And then I was able to see where some emptiness was opening up, where some holes might be. And then I was able to move those mixes in from the fall to fill those emptier areas. So the fall planting was a much smaller planting than the spring planting was too. You can see the spring species, there were lots and lots and lots of plants, and the fall was just a supplement. The structure layer is largely shrubs and trees, and I will tell you, I don't feel like I included enough of those, so I will be working more shrubs and trees into the planting over the next couple of years. I didn't calculate quite what I needed to add to that. So I'll be working some more of those in as well. In addition, there were some plants which I could not get from High Country Garden for whatever reason. And so those I sourced independently elsewhere. That included most of the structure layer, as well as my boundary bed, which is a raised bed that kind of acts as the border between what is right now lawn in our yard and the area that is the wildlife garden. So that's what boundary bed refers to. You can go through and sort, for example, by botanical name. You can sort by North American native or by blooming season. You can alphabetize things. You can do whatever you need to do. You can sort by color. Perhaps you were just looking to include a certain color range. You would have that available to you. But I wanted to give you the entire structure for how to plant so that you have a place to start. One of the things about planting a really densely planted and kind of complicated naturalistic planting structure is that there's kind of, where do you start? What plants do you begin with? Everybody has done this in a different way, and a lot of people are kind of protective about their plant lists, and that's understandable, but I'm not. I have nothing to lose by this. So you have my plant list. You know where we've started and where we're going from here. You could do this on a very small scale where maybe you only plant one block at a time, or you could do this on a very large scale and multiply it out and do 5,000 square feet instead of 1,000 square feet, which I did. And you may like some of these plants and may not like others. So, you need to plant what works for you. But this is a starting point. Thank you so much for choosing to download this tool. I hope it is helpful for you. If you have questions, you're welcome to drop them in the comments or shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy gardening.